How's it going? I'm Ryan. Today, I'm going to go over the one trade that I took on QQQ. Took some calls in the morning, ended up with a pretty nice win. Before we jump into that trade, though, on the daily time frame here, just looking at things, we had a massive gap up overnight and pretty much came up to tie that all-time high around 439.14. Take a look at some of the zones I was watching. So coming into the day, like I said, we had that massive gap up. I had a pre-market high at 435.2. I had this zone around 435. I was watching 435 for a potential rejection in the morning. Reason being is an area that we rejected last Thursday twice, and then last Friday it was right where we opened up before selling off pretty majorly. So also coming up and retesting that and rejecting in the pre-market as well. So as we opened up below that 435 whole number, that was an area I was watching for rejection. The next zone that we have here is between like 436.3 or so and 436.5, so about a 20-cent zone. It was an area that we had rejected off of last, what was that, Friday? 2 Fridays ago, so about 2 weeks ago. And then last Monday, not last Monday, but the Monday before, so about a week prior, it was an area that we found support before setting that all-time high. We hadn't visited again, so that was an area that I was watching. And then we had that all-time high zone between like 438.8 or so and like 439. Those were the zones I was watching. Price moved pretty much zone to zone today. It was pretty accurate, but we can take a look. So I was watching that 435 for potential rejection. It happened in the very first minute of the day. I did not catch it. I want to see usually at least one 1 minute candle test and confirm a level. But with that happening right off the opening candle, didn't really get that. But we did get over $1 rejection right off the open. From there, we held this zone below, kind of rallied up to make a new high on the day and rejected off the next zone around 436.25. From there, made a higher low. And as I was saying, I was watching that 435 whole number and this pre-market high. Once we had this candle here close strongly above that 435, and then we had these candles here testing that pre-market high and holding, I got into a call here. So we can take a look at the 1 minute and we can look exactly where I got in and what made me get in. So the thing that I was watching is that we created this new high. We created a higher low. Then we created a lower high here, pulled back, created another higher low, and then we created a higher high from the previous swing high. So at this point, I was not too interested in calls here because we failed to make a higher high and we rejected pretty much immediately. But after setting a higher low and then setting a higher high, coming down and holding this pre-market high pretty definitively here, I entered one call on this candle here. And the reason being is you can see that we had on this push up and break of that pre-market high, we had an increase in volume as we pushed up. And then on the pullback to retest that pre-market high, we had decreasing volume. So what that said to me is that we had buyers present, not very many sellers present, right? And then we had this strong reaction here as we tested that pre-market high and got pushed up. So as we came back down to retest that, I entered a single call here. When we got up here, that call was up about 20% or so. My target was 436. I just wanted to target a whole number. It was also a little bit below the high of the day, and I wanted to see some continuation up. I didn't take any profit here, and then for the resulting, let's see, 812 to 826, about resulting 13 or so minutes, we kind of chopped sideways. One candle that gave me a lot of confidence is this one right here, this hammer that we printed. You can also see the corresponding volume was really high related to the previous candles. So even though we were kind of chopping sideways, the fact that we were holding that pre-market high and I was seeing volume come in on candles like this, gave me confidence. I entered another call, I believe on this candle here, once we pushed down and tested that 435 and then closed above that pre-market high again. That gave me confidence to size into this trade. Also at this point with this sideways action, the premium was kind of getting eaten up a little bit. So I went from being, in the money to slightly out of the money, or in profit to slightly out of profit, I guess would be a better way to describe that. But I entered another contract, brought my average price down a little bit, and was able to size into this trade a little bit more. Took profit on this candle here. Once we reached this zone in here that we had rejected off of 3 previous times. So I took one profit, or one contract I took off the table here, secured some profit, and let the other contract run. The other contract I sold at 436. So right here when we hit 436, I got out, as that was ultimately my target. I could have taken it to this next zone because we did push up another 30, 40 cents or so. Left a little bit of profit on the table, but overall pretty happy with how this trade played out. We can just take a look at how, additionally, I guess I should say on this trade, my stop was a break below 435. I don't have it on this chart, but we had the 9 EMA kind of sitting right at that 435, and then we had that 435 whole number where we had rejected off of earlier. A break below that would have signaled to cut for me. So we got pretty close, but like I said, that candle that came down and wicked off of it and closed above the pre-market high gave me confidence to size in that we still had buyers present and we were still strong to the upside. Just looking at these zones, you can see that they played out pretty well. Rejected off this zone, held this one, rejected off this zone, held this one, again rejected off this zone, held this one, rejected, broke above. This retest here would have been a beautiful trade right up to this next zone, that all-time high, and then kind of moved around sideways for the rest of the day. So SPY hit all-time highs today. We can look at SPY real quick, but nothing super of note because I didn't have any zones above us because we were already at the all-time high, so I didn't have anything to go off of. But you can see that this all-time high, once we broke above it, we held that and never really looked back, right? So trades on the retest of the pre-market high / all-time high would have been really solid here on SPY as well. So very bullish day. I wasn't sure how today would play out with how much of a gap up we had. It's one of those things where it's bullish, but is it too bullish? Are we gonna sell off from having a massive overnight gap? But yeah, today played out pretty nice, and I think SPY maybe actually has a little bit cleaner of a chart than QQQ did today. But regardless, we stuck to our plan. Really starting to dial in these zones, I think. Obviously not perfect, so we'll continue to work on that, but I like the direction that I'm headed here. That's all I got for you. Thank you for watching. I do trade live Monday through Friday, so I'll be here tomorrow and then next week as well. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you again for watching. Peace out.